In case you missed it, because the videos have very low view numbers, I ring in the new year with a retrospective of all the games in the Star Fox series, including a game I'd been itching to rage against since it came out, Star Fox Zero. Shit controls, abysmal amount of content, mediocre level and game design that overly emphasizes boss battles. It did not compute that such a terrible game could come from so beloved a developer as Platinum Games. Well, apparently Platinum's a lot less bulletproof than I thought, because someone quickly pointed out that they also made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. You know, I've been playing Ninja Turtles games since I was a little kid on my dad's NES. How is it that the games keep getting worse the further in time we get? Whew. Might as well get this out of the way, because I know that playing a Ninja Turtles game is going to make me hungry for pizza. Sausage, pineapple, and olives. My favorite. Well, let's give the game an honest chance. Crap on toast those faces! What the hell is wrong with these turtles? The game insists that you should play the tutorial before starting, so let's... Why is there a player level on the game's main menu? I have a very bad feeling about this. The game's plot is completely non-existent. The turtles observe an uptick in crime from the foot and suspect that something larger is in the works. That is not me summarizing or giving a synopsis. That is literally all you're told at the start of the game. And then each level is you going after some villain attacking something, because thereafter they don't tell you. And as if to lampshade the lack of detail, half the levels end with the turtles saying that they need more information on what's going on. A few levels in, they figure out that Shredder and Krang are preparing an alien invasion of Earth, but you still just go to random locations fighting villains that are attacking for some reason. Rocksteady is sabotaging the subway system. Why? Don't know. Karai is planting bombs on skyscrapers. Why? Don't know. The Foot are messing around in Slash's territory. Why? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who the hell Slash is. The game pretty much assumes that you're already a hardcore Turtles fan. I know who Krang, Rocksteady, and Bebop are because of the original cartoon, and I know who Karai is because she was in the 2003 series where her character was radically different from what it is here. But Slash, Armagon, Wingnut, I've never heard of these characters, and there is not a word of explanation or character bio anywhere to fill you in on who anyone is. And they're probably not original characters because the dialogue is written to where they're all common knowledge to the turtles. I mean, if these characters are from the Nickelodeon series that I haven't watched, fair enough, but then why change the art style so it's not clear the two are connected, and also the turtles look like butt? The game is a beat-em-up. You spawn inside a somewhat large and open map, and you're assigned small missions to run until the entrance to the level boss opens. The missions typically boil down to run to this waypoint and kill all the enemies, or protect this object from being destroyed, or transport this item to the checkpoint, or hold the circle button next to this objective to disarm bombs or hack enemy computers or whatnot. All four turtles are active at a time, and you can swap between them at will and issue orders to AI turtles by pressing the center pad on the controller. You have light and heavy attacks, a dodge move, you can throw an unlimited number of shuriken, and all the turtles can climb walls because apparently whatever ooze mutated them in this universe contains some spider DNA. Spider turtle, why is getting good games such a hurdle? You also have Batman's detective vision, because of course you do. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, what's the problem? A beat-em-up plays right into the Turtles' wheelhouse, mini sandboxes sound neat, and Platinum has a long resume of good brawler titles. What could possibly go wrong? Two major problems. For one, the overwhelming vast majority of the game's enemies are just basic foot soldiers that you kill by mashing either attack button with no finesse, maneuvering, or strategy required on your part. The only real threats to you are the occasional bomb-throwing enemies or Krang UFOs, the latter of which are still easy to kill. Everything else you just mash buttons and plow straight through. The second big problem is, unless you specifically order them otherwise, the AI partners will play the game for you. The AI defaults to the setting Go All Out, which has them dash at max speed to any enemies nearby and absolutely beat the living hell out of them. Unless you're playing on the hard difficulty that slashes your health and turns all the enemies into damage sponges, the AI is so proficient at plowing through mooks that you can actually have trouble finding someone to fight. There's not really any platforming and barely any exploration, so the gameplay is just running from one objective to the next, mashing the two attack buttons at random the whole way. it gets monotonous really fast. Oh, and all 4 turtles play pretty much exactly the same except for Donatello, who's a little slower in exchange for a little bit more range to his attacks. So it barely even matters which one you use. The only time the gameplay comes to life and requires, actual effort on your part is the boss battles. This is a Platinum game after all, so of course the bosses are obnoxiously overlong royal pains in the ass. Every boss plays pretty much exactly the same. They all have attacks that take up huge swaths of the arena at once, with either very little telegraph or way too much telegraph so that you can't get the timing down on any dodges, and they rarely flinch to your hits. The dodge roll does not feel like it interrupts other attacks, and actually stuns you if you use it a few times in a row, so dodging hits feels like a complete crapshoot. Turtles can revive one another when knocked down, but they don't revive with much health, so unless you stack the characters up with healing abilities and pizza items, it will get to the point where the bosses can easily and repeatedly one-shot kill your turtles, even one-shot multiples with one swing, especially since the bosses are all endurance battles in the true Platinum game style. And if you get unlucky and the entire group gets one-shotted to death at once, well, tough shit. You have to start the boss over, and limited continues. Bosses quickly become a chaotic maelstrom of your characters dying instantly and needing to run around reviving them constantly. The combat is so screwed up you're sometimes better off not reviving turtles so that they can die and respawn, because it's about the only reliable way to get your health back. The only tips you're given for fighting bosses is to switch characters a lot and to use a crapload of special moves, switch characters that will often be knocked out so that you can't switch, and use the special moves that take forever and a half to recharge after one use. Great plan! The icing on this cake of awful is that the AI turtles more or less just suicide charge the bosses and don't seem to put any effort into actually dodging attacks. They just run up and die constantly. The bosses are designed to be taken by 4 people, and all 4 of them will keep getting knocked over like punch clowns. I feel a lot more confident accusing Star Fox Zero of having shit core gameplay and being overly focused on bosses. The exact same thing happened here. Each turtle has 4 special moves called ninjutsus that you can change out between levels, these loadouts being just about the only tangible difference between the characters. And as you complete stages, gain XP, and increase your player level, you can unlock and upgrade the special moves. Trouble is, between the rock-stupid nature of the general combat and the overpowered nature of bosses, a lot of the ninjutsu powers feel completely useless. Oh sure, each turtle has a combo attack that deals massive damage because 2 turtles can combine into co-op moves, unless you're playing as Mikey, who just does a dance that stuns all the enemies for like 1 hit and barely does anything. But the rest of the ninjutsu moves, there's a super shuriken that barely seems to hit crap, a rocketing shell crusher move that lands maybe 1 hit and barely does anything, moves that warp you to an enemy or do a super high jump that just wastes the slot. They're both so useless. I experimented around and it just feels like the vast bulk of the moves are total garbage. I tended to equip each turtle with the combo move, 1 extra attack that felt marginally less useless, and then gave everybody 2 group buffs, like party healing, a time stopper, or Mikey has a cheerleader move that instantly recharges the whole party's cooldowns. Equipping these damn ninjutsus can be its own problem, though, because I think certain moves can only be equipped to certain slots on certain turtles, and the game doesn't tell you which ones, so you go to equip or upgrade moves only for them to not show up or be blacked out everywhere. I think Mikey is the only one that can use the cheerleader move, and I'm not even sure who's allowed to use the invincibility or what slot it has to be equipped to. It's also frustratingly vague and counterintuitive. There also aren't any visual cues on the screen for when other party members use their special moves, so you can't strategize or coordinate with them. The level design feels like a huge missed opportunity. The first level with Bebop is actually kind of neat because you're in an open city map. It's a little sandbox with a lot of zip lines and rails to grind to get around, kind of something that's cool to see in a Ninja Turtles game. But then Rocksteady's level is a tight, cramped subway, and then Slash's level is a tight, cramped sewer, 2 series of identical hallways. Karai's level is a series of skyscrapers that you navigate with wacko physics trampolines and parachutes. It's an interesting layout for a level, it just doesn't feel like how the Turtles should play. And every level except the subway is blatantly recycled because apparently this crap was so low budget and or rushed that 9 distinct relatively small levels was apparently too much to ask for. April gets on my nerves something fierce in this game. She acts as your mission control, and she's always jumping on the radio to give you directions, spouts a ton of filler lines that mean nothing just to hear herself talk, and the game will frequently stop dead and interrupt itself so that April can alert you that a scout is nearby, only for said scout to invariably be absolutely nowhere near your location. Oh, and Casey Jones gets offhandedly mentioned once, but never actually shows up. Sorry, Ben. So it was around level 5 of the campaign that I like to imagine Platinum sitting around their offices staring off into space and going, what can we do for a difficulty curve in the back half of the game? We could try to make some more complex enemies that you can't just kill with blind button mashing, but that's hard. And then some guy jumps up and shouts, I've got it! What if we replace all the foot soldiers with rock soldiers that have something like 5 or 6 times more health but still barely actually do anything, so that every damn enemy in the entire back half of the game is an obnoxious damage sponge that takes forever and a half to kill? And lo was it so. Armagon's stage is a massive pain in the ass. It's a blatant copy of Slash's sewer level, only now with powerful water currents that constantly push you away from all the rock soldier enemies that take a metric crapload of hits to put down. I'm beginning to think the game's missions are chosen with random procedural generation because this level was padded out to over half an hour long, with over half dozen get to the next tunnel missions that didn't actually contribute to unlocking the boss. Apparently the New York City sewer system burrows at least 5 miles down into the earth. Oh, and there's purple sludge that turns the turtles into zombies that's never explained and that the boss likes to toss around like candy. Swell. Level 6, Wingnut stage, is a blatant copy of Karai's skyscraper level, only now there are heavy winds and storms that blow you off course and constantly slide you around. So of course I got sent into a mission where 2 turtles have to grab a bomb with magnets and transport it to a portal by hopping between buildings, with an AI that can barely traverse the skyscrapers with the wind and constantly goes falling to its doom. Oh, and in these levels, you frequently have to order the AI to follow you because if you leave them set to the default of go all out, they'll run off fighting random non-essential rock soldiers with their default inability to dodge and get their shell shellacked while doing absolutely squat to help you. Also, Wingnut gets my vote for the worst boss in the game because he flies a lot and the aerial combat is wank. The game has 9 stages, and playing on normal difficulty, they each take 15 to 30 minutes to complete. So, let's see, carry the one, you'll finish this game in under 4 hours. 4 hours of horribly recycled and generic content. So, again, Star Fox Zero. And despite the fact that there's so little content in the game, let alone so little worthwhile content, you're meant to replay those 4 hours over and over and over again, because guess what? There's grinding! The game is so miserly handing out its currency that upgrading one ninjutsu past its initial levels takes playing 3 or 4 stages, 90 minutes to 2 hours of grind to afford a single power-up. So, good thing a lot of the special moves suck and aren't worth grinding, huh? The real bitch, though, is the charms. Your turtles do not inherently get any stronger as you level up. You make them stronger by equipping charms that give them new abilities or enhance their strength or whatnot. Except the charms drop at random, they have a lot of useless powers, and even the good ones barely do squat. You have to level up the charms using scrolls that drop at random off defeated enemies, except upgrading a single charm by even 1 level takes tons of scrolls picked up from very specific foes, and many of them require you to form a specific boss at least 5 times. It takes hours of grind to marginally improve a single charm that buffs a single stat a single time. So if you want the turtles powered up enough across the board to stand a chance at the game's higher difficulties, days, probably a lot closer to weeks of grinding the same 4 hours of recycled repetitive content. Don't worry, you can pretty easily beat the normal difficulty without the grind. I did. You only have to actually do this crap if you want to beat the hard mode to unlock and play the very hard mode. And you should give a rat's ass about the very hard mode because... So yeah, the horrid progression and dreadful grind only exist to prop up a mode that most people won't give a shit about. I did play several levels on the hard mode. You get like an inch of health, all the enemies have more health, at pure random big glowing purple enemies spawn that teleport and one-shot kill you and have mile-long health bars. No, I'm not kidding, who the hell thought this was a good idea? The game gets super chintzy with its items. You and the AI partners will get knocked out even more because the AI still can't dodge worth crap. Levels are padded way longer by forcing you to do more copy-pasted missions. Basically take a game that already sucked and then make it frustrating on top. You'll notice that each level has a bonus marked secret boss in the results screen, which intrigued me until I looked it up and found out that the secret bosses are just having to fight 2 bosses at once at the end of a level. Nobody seems to know exactly how you get the secret bosses to appear, but popular consensus is that they're completely random and appear more often on higher difficulty levels. Maybe you also need a lot of S ranks or to beat bosses without ever running out of health, I don't know, I never ran into one. Curiously, for Platinum games that tend to slap you with horrid rankings for taking a few hits or using any items, it's actually really easy to get solid S and A rankings in the missions, which led to this humorous and purely accidental moment. Ass! I've seriously done everything I can think of to make the boss fights easier, but issuing the AI different commands just seems to make them worse at fighting. I guess chaotic crapstorm mosh pit is just how these bosses are supposed to play. The only true tactic I've found to make the bosses easier is to pull off a super precisely timed dodge where you roll behind an enemy and jump on their head to stun them for several seconds, but the timing needed to pull this off is so specific, with loads of attacks going off radically differently, it's not exactly a reliable tactic when missing the timing can kill you instantly. But fine, Mutants in Manhattan is designed to be played in multiplayer. Fair enough, I'll play the online mode. Hell, I forgot to cancel my PlayStation Plus account from the Anthem review. Might as well get some use out of it before it expires. The multiplayer is the exact same crappy game as the single player. I played a game with 2 human partners who, despite being several levels higher than me, didn't seem any more competent than regular AI turtles. In fact, the way human players run off to do their own thing so they'll never be around to revive you, it's probably fair to say that you die more often in the multiplayer. I'd love to comment on how the bosses play online and whether they're any easier with human partners or not, but I can't, because the game's online servers are dog shit! After spending more than 20 minutes trying to set up a game and then playing through a hard difficulty level, BAM! Connection problem. I get dumped to the main menu with no rewards because the game hates you. No other devices in my house have this problem. I played Anthem extensively online and never ran into this problem. Played Ninja Turtles once and got kicked halfway through my first session. So much for being a multiplayer game! At the beginning of level 7, the Turtles realize that Shredder and Krang are building a portal machine, and the completely random, disjointed, nothing to do with anything missions you've been running up to now have all been deliberate distractions to keep the Turtles from stopping the portal. And literally every level ends with the boss getting away perfectly fine. I'm sure that's not gonna bite the Turtles in the ass later. So they storm the Alien Tech Advanced TCRI building, which is just a series of empty hallways, where you're forced to fight every single boss in the game up to this point in a row. Oh look, it bit the Turtles in the ass later. And the sad thing is, even this rock-stupid level environment will get recycled later when it's time to fight the Shredder. Although the rematch battle with Slash actually went pretty easily. See, a game bug spawned Raphael behind a wall when he came back from being dead, and Slash apparently decided that Raph was the one and only turtle that he wanted to eat, so he spent well over a minute running into a wall completely frozen in place, while the other turtles dogpiled him for an easy win. Brilliant! So you fight Krang, only it turns out the villain's friggin' hideout is somehow also a misdirect, and the portal opens anyway. Isn't it great writing when your main characters can win every single fight and still not actually accomplish a single damn thing? I'm pretty sure the Mega Krang stage is a copy of the first city level. It's not quite as obvious when all of it's on fire. This has another Platinum staple that I remember from Bayonetta, a gimme level in overpowered mech suits. It does make the level a little fun, breaks up the crushing monotony and frustration. I think the moment that perfectly encapsulates just how dumb the AI is comes during the Mega Krang boss fight. The AI turtles just all stand in place shooting Krang, having forgotten that the suits have super powerful special weapons, not budging a single inch as Krang slowly karate chops the building and one shot kills every last one of them at once. Cripes on a cracker. You stop Krang, but then Shredder somehow starts manipulating the portal so that it will explode and destroy the city, so you have a thankfully short level and go fight the Shredder.
Who ever heard of heroes backing out right before the final boss anyway?
That is an excellent question, Michelangelo. According to the game's trophy, 81.6% of heroes give up before the final boss. Shredder plays exactly the same as every other boss in the game, but this level is nefarious for a different reason. Remember when I said that each level has a secret boss? Well, the secret boss of Shredder's stage is a second boss fight against a Super Shredder. Again, nobody's sure how exactly you get the Super Shredder to spawn, but several of the charms absolutely require farming the Super Shredder fight to unlock them. Entire lines of basic upgrades are locked behind you grinding the final boss for hours in the hopes that a secret boss spawns multiple times. So you beat the Shredder, but he escapes, of course, and you are all doomed. And the turtles frantically try to stop the portal. Honest to crap, the way the final cutscene is staged to make it look like it's impossible for the turtles to have survived, and how big a deal the game makes about playing on hard mode, I thought the game was pulling a Shadows of the Empire and gave you a bogus ending unless you go back and play the game on hard. But no, the turtles escape, the city is saved, and literally not a single villain from the game has been captured, so the entire game feels like it's been a complete waste of time. But no, the waste of time comes later. Funny how there's a mosh pit bonus level to distract you from reading any of the main developer credits, and geez, I know that developers tend to reuse a tiny handful of actors, but Nolan North voices half the cast! Every time I review one of these grindfest online-oriented games, I tend to play until I reach some breaking point that just makes me say, screw this, I'm done. And there is invariably always a breaking point. With Lost Reavers, it was the co-op player from hell. With Anthem, it was completing 2 raids nearly solo and not getting anything for rewards. With Mutants in Manhattan, I hit fuck it with this mission right here. I decided to replay Armagon's level on hard difficulty because I need some of the scrolls in this level to enhance some charms. I eventually hit a mission where I have to kill all the enemies before time runs out. Cue the game spawning a huge rock monster whose health bar is so massive and decreases so slowly that I shit you not, it is physically impossible for me to kill him before the time runs out. Steady stream of ninjutsu attacks? Turtles aren't getting knocked out. This dude just has such an ungodly massive health pool that I can't even come close to killing him before the game fails me for time. And when I failed this mission, you know what happened? The game made me do it again, complete with this same asshole spawning again, because apparently I can't beat this level and get my rewards without getting through this unkillable rat bastard. If I want to beat this guy, I'd not only need to level up several of my ninjutsu several times over, and upgrading the combo attack alone at this point takes at least 3 levels worth of currency, and I'd need to farm crap loads of scrolls with even more currency to craft and upgrade very specific abilities to increase the turtles' baseline stats that are worth the crap. That's going to take untold several hours of grind, and for what? To have the option of playing the shitty game I've already finished and would have played through several times over again by then, just harder and more intentionally broken? And then untold further hours of grind if I want to try the very hard mode? The very hard mode that even big fans of the game have said is pretty much impossible? No! An entire miles-long New York sewer system overflowing with no until manhole covers explode and rain down a homogeneous mixture of urine, feces, and no upon the citizens. I'm done, you pile of shit! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan is awful. About the only positives to it are that the personalities of the turtles kinda shine through, the music really fits the franchise, and there are cute additions like the turtles dancing or the pizza room where KO'd turtles regain their health by chowing down in the lair. but the actual gameplay just makes this thing feel rushed or phoned in or both. The basic gameplay has hints of the great combat that Platinum is known for, but dumbed way the hell down to accommodate an online focus until the entire game is just button mashing, with the only conceit to a difficulty curve being what ridiculous number of hits it takes to put down basic enemies, or just swamping you with enemies until the game breaks because, hey, the turtles basically have infinite lives, why not? The AI is dumb and the online is borked, so there is no correct way to play the game, and the dumbass AI makes Platinum's signature over-the-top boss battles frustrating as all hell. So it probably wasn't a great idea to make boss battles the focus of the game. Then factor in a lazy, nearly non-existent story, plus the game is pathetically short with the only replay value being a hard difficulty that requires hours of grind, and yeah, you have another black eye both on the resume of a great studio and on a franchise that just keeps getting shat upon in video games. You know, for how badly Konami's gone to shit the last several years, it's weird they still have the best Ninja Turtles games by a mile. But oh well. At least I got some good pizza out of it.